or these bigger.
You're good. All right, here we go. 5A District 3 PIAA predictions here. So, all right, we got 14 teams entering the field. We got 2 that get the automatic bye, and then you got the 3 through 14 that will end up playing first round games here. So York Sub and Susquehanna Township automatically get the PIAA berth because 8 teams end up making it here in District 3 5A. So I think this is going to be, there's a little bit more parity in this bracket than I think you may see in some other brackets here. After the top 3 teams, 4 through 12 or 4 through 13, I should say, really, there's some parity there. But in terms of some of the matchups that we have here, it's going to be, I think, a fun one. The 8-9 matchup, I think, is going to be the best matchup in the opening week there. It's 2 teams that are going to be battling for it. You got a very young Manheim Central team against Exeter Township, who's led by a senior Grace Reedy, who is, scoring a ton. But that's one I got it close, but it's really, to me, it's going to depend down to Reedy and how well she plays. If she can have a great night, I think Exeter can win that, but I think Manheim might be the better team going into that. I got the Barons, they'll run winning that one. So Manheim Central is going to win the first round matchup there, beating up on Berks County's finest Exeter. On the West York LS matchup, LS, if they get hot, they'll have a chance in that game, but West York is a pretty high powered team. I'm picking West York to win that matchup. And then I got the Mechanicsburg Susquehannock matchup is going to be a fun one. Susquehannock, they upset Southwestern. They can beat good teams. I am going to pick the 12-5 upset. I got Susquehannock beating Mechanicsburg. They're going to lose to West York, but they beat Mechanicsburg round 1. Losing record, Susquehannock doesn't matter. They're going to go in and win round 1. So I got York Sub beating Manheim Central. I got York Sub then beating West York to go to the Giant Center on Friday, March 1st. So that's top half of the bracket. Mike, you want to take the second half of the bracket there, or give me your first half and then go ahead with your second half?
Yeah, sure. You want me to do the second half first or
Yeah,
reply
yeah.
first? All right. So Susquehanna Township, like you said, has the bye. 7-10 matchup, Palmyra versus Cacalico. Cacalico, a strong program. I have Palmyra winning that one. Then I have Susquehanna Township beating Palmyra. Northern York versus Milton Hershey. Northern York is a very strong team. I have Northern York winning that one. Greencastle versus Redland. I have Greencastle Antrim winning that. I have Susquehanna and Northern York getting to the semifinals. And I have Northern York beating Susquehanna to get to the championship game Friday, March 1st at 6:15. A lot of respect for Northern York's program. I just think they're going to beat Susquehanna and get to that championship game, although I do think that'll be a very competitive game.
Okay.
Now, the top half of the bracket, I have to disagree with you. I do have Manheim Central beating Exeter. Grace Reedy's averaging 21 points a game. She's a great player, great scorer. But I do think Manheim Central has the better overall team. I have West York beating Lampeter. And Mechanicsburg, although I agree with you, Susquehannock has beaten some good teams, and they've shown they can do it. But I have Mechanicsburg getting there to the quarterfinals. I have Mechanicsburg then beating West York. Ooh. So I have a York Suburban Mechanicsburg semi with York Suburban getting to the finals versus Northern York. And I have York Suburban coming out as the champion. Northern York second, Mechanicsburg third, Susquehanna Township fourth, West York fifth, Palmyra sixth, Greencastle seventh, and Manheim Central as the 8th seed to get in the States.
Okay. That's a pretty good I like that. That's a good bracket. But on your bottom half, there's not much disagreement on my side there. I actually have Northern York representing the bottom half there as well. I do have Greencastle Antrim beating Redland. I got Palmyra beating Cocalico, although Cocalico, for them to get in, have the year that they did, they deserve a lot of credit for that. But I do think that it's going to be Susquehanna Township versus Northern York, and I think Northern York's going to prevail in that semifinal matchup. But I as well also have York Sub winning it all. I think that they're gonna represent the bracket here, but Mechanicsburg is honestly one that I could see them losing first round. I could see them winning this whole thing too. It would not surprise me if they end up winning it, just because I think they got a tough first round matchup in Susquehannock. And I don't know. I think it's one game that it's not the first round matchup I would be hoping for if I was Mechanicsburg, but if they win that one, they very well can win it all. They're the type of team that has such a great program. They're in it every year. That very well could be the case. But for now, I got the 12-5 matchup standing, and that's what I'm going to roll with. So we'll see if that ends up being the case. But what else you got, District 3 5A, Mike? Anything else you got for the good of the order here?
No, I wouldn't be surprised to see York Suburban, Northern York, or Mechanicsburg win. I think
Hmm.
the three of them have the capability to win it. West York and Susquehanna are fine programs. I see them just a little bit beneath. And Palmyra, Greencastle, and Manheim Central good enough to qualify for states, but not to crack that top. But a very competitive bracket. And I wouldn't be shocked to see any of those three teams, Suburban, Northern York, or Mechanicsburg, win it.
There we go. That's 5A, District 3. So we'll see how it shakes out. We'll see which of the two of us gets the bracket more right.
More right.
All right, we started at 1A. We've gone all the way through. We're now up to our 6A bracket here. This 6A bracket, I think, is man, this bracket's tough. You look at some of these teams on here. I mean, just some high level quality play. Um, the matchups here, I think, are going to be really man, some of these can go in any which way. But in terms of the way that this bracket shakes out, so the top 7 teams advance to the PIAA, to the states. We have 4 teams that do get the bye, and then you got the number 1 overall seed, Lebanon, and then the bottom seed, number 12, is Cedar Crest. So in our matchups here, you got the 8-9 matchup, the 5-12, 7-10, and the 6-11. Why don't we go through this one by one, Mike? So first one that we're going to have here, the 8-9 Southwestern and Ephrata. I'll start with this one. Ephrata, a great program. They've been in it here, this state playoffs, just about every single year. And that's also for probably the smallest 6A school in the state. They're constantly on that 5A, 6A borderline, but they just find a way to keep cracking in and keep getting it. Very good job by Brian Cirillo there. But in this matchup, I'm picking Southwestern out of the York Adams to win that first round matchup there and beat Ephrata in a close game. Ephrata does such a good job keeping games low scoring. I think they're going to have a real chance in this, but I do think Southwestern's my pick for this one. So what do you got in that matchup, Mike?
I tend to agree. Effort is a strong program. I think Southwestern has a little bit too much firepower for them. Carly Lowy averaging 14.1 a game. I just think Southwestern played a little bit of a tougher schedule than Ephrata. I see them winning that game, but I wouldn't be surprised that one either way. Guess that's not saying much for an 8-9 game, but yeah, that's the way I look at it.
For sure. Yeah. How about so 5-12 Northeastern versus Cedar Crest? Who you guys got?
I've got Northeastern in this one. I think they 20-2. They played a really tough schedule. Cedar Crest had a strong year. Did a nice job. I don't think they score enough to beat Northeastern. I've got Northeastern winning that game.
Yeah, we got another York versus the LL matchup there. I think Northeastern was the number 1 seed in this bracket for a good part of the year, but do have 2 losses there. But man, they're another good program. I also tend to agree. I got number 5 Northeastern advancing to get matched up against Dallastown there. So in the Central York versus William Penn matchup, you got 2 again York teams going at it head to head there. I think that's going to be a fun game to watch. It's at Central York. I'm picking number 7 Central York. They're about as good a 7 seed I think that you're going to find in 6A. Very tough team, and I think a team that is going to advance to the second round there to take on the Wilson Bulldogs. I got Central York. Who do you got there, Mike?
I agree with you. I have Central York balanced scoring with Kylie Reebert and Camille McCaskill averaging about 11 points each. I agree with you. They're a strong 7 seed. I just think they're a little too much for William Penn. I've got Central York advancing to play Wilson in the second round.
There you go. And then the 6-11 matchup, Township, Manheim Township versus Governor Mifflin, two historically strong programs there. Governor Mifflin's in these playoffs, it seems like every year. You got Manheim Township, who also seems to find themselves in it. First round matchup's going to be interesting there. I think it's got 2 teams that are that I think are just about. This is another one. It's a coin flip, even though it's a 6-11. I think that Mifflin finds themselves in a position where they play this well and they're in it every year. I got Township, but not by much. I mean, I think this one's going to be close, and I think Mifflin keeps it close, but I'm picking the Streaks to win this first game here.
Yeah, I think you have some experience over youth here. Mike Clark has done an excellent job both at Ole Valley and Governor Mifflin. Mike Clark's team, Mike Clark coach team will always play hard, and they will do two things. They always play hard, and they will always shoot threes. Watching their semifinal game against Wyomissing, they were shooting them from NBA range. Now, part of that was Wyomissing's defense forcing it, but Mifflin's a very young team. I think he starts 3 freshmen. If they make, if they may be too young to not know enough, if you know what I'm saying, like to not know the stage they're on. So if they come out and hit everything, maybe. But I think Manheim Township's too strong. I have Township beating Governor Mifflin, but if Mifflin shoots a really high percentage from 3, my high school coach Bob Wheeler used to say you can't trade 3s for 2s. So you never know.
Let me get my calculator. I think that's correct. But what I got here, I look at that matchup. You think about it, man. That's kind of like for those NFL fans out there, it's kind of like the Cowboys and the Packers this year. The youth over the experience type deal, and the Packers came in not knowing any better, and they whooped the Cowboys in the hind parts there. So I don't know.
Why don't we stick to the script, okay? Because you're not funny. You try to be funny. Okay.
Well,
okay.
That's the one. That's one that I do think we could see. You're right. I mean, the 3-pointer, man, that's a great equalizer for Mifflin, but I don't know. That's one that you could really see.
Mike Clark tells his players to shoot. They shoot to score. Guaranteed. You're going to see that. His team will be ready. Guaranteed.
That team. Yeah, that team will be ready. But all right, we're gonna go. I'm gonna pick Township as well. So that's gonna be our pick there. So I think if I'm looking at it right, we got chalk right now. We got 1 through 8, as I see it. No upsets in the first round for either of us. So in agreement there. All right, let's keep it on the bottom half there. Central Dauphin versus Township. Who do you got in that matchup?
I have Central Dauphin. I think both teams are very well coached. Both teams play good defense. I think Central Dauphin can really put the clamps on people. I have them winning that game and advancing to the semifinals.
Yeah, I am going to agree with you on that one as well. Again, Central Dauphin every single year you feel like they're in this conversation, and they're in this bracket here, and they're usually one of the last teams standing. I just think you got a team that's going to be that's as good a program pedigree you're going to have. Central Dauphin is my pick in that matchup as well, to represent that matchup there. So we got the Wilson versus Central York matchup, the 2 versus 7. Wilson just coming off a very tough loss in their Berks County playoffs there against Wyomissing. But this team is also very young as well. You're talking about Mifflin being young, but Wilson also very young. You look at starting 3 sophomores there, and then a couple freshmen that are in the rotation. You look at a team that I think is taking it one game at a time, 21-1. Their one loss in the regular season is to number 4 Dallastown, actually, in this bracket. I got the Bulldogs in this matchup. I think it's going to be a very, very close game, though. Central York and the York League is tough, so this is one that's an early test in the bracket for the Bulldogs. But either way, I mean, they beat William Penn earlier in the year when they played them, so if William Penn were to get the upset, you could see it. But I see the Bulldogs beating Central York in a close game.
Yeah, first of all, Chris Gallo's done a phenomenal job taking over Wilson, and he's been successful there and at Schuylkill Valley with the boys. They play very good defense. He always has his team prepared. I thought they defended Wyomissing about as well as you could defend Wyomissing without having the size to really contend with Maya Stewart. I thought he had a great game plan for that game. I do think Central York pulls this off. I think it's going to be a very low scoring game. Very good defense by both, but I see Central York winning it just by the basis of their league schedule being a little tougher than Wilson's through no fault of their own. But I would not be shocked if Wilson won either. So I have Central York in a maybe 22-21, 23-22 type of game.
Wow. Okay. All right. Well, let me ask you something, Mike. You got a matchup here. A lot of these games they play on the Monday, this coming Monday, tomorrow. We're filming this Sunday night here, but you get that first round bye. How much of an advantage is that for some of these teams? Do you think it's an advantage, or you think it's a disadvantage? Do you think it matters, or you think it's just a matter of we're looking too much into this and you just got to go out and play?
I'm not sure if it matters whoever shows up and plays, but I hated it. We used to, when I was at YO, we were usually seated high enough that we'd have a bye, but we typically lost pretty early in the county playoffs. So we're looking at sometimes 11, 12 days off.
Mm,
Now, that's
yeah.
great to prep for one game, but it also is long.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know. I think with Wilson, they probably need the time. They that have lost a really
Yeah.
tough on Friday, so a couple extra days for them to prepare, clear their mind from that tough loss, and get ready. It probably helps them. And then, but I think it comes down to who executes right this time of year.
Absolutely.
We can sit here and make these predictions, but whoever's going to execute, and it comes down. All these games are going to come down to a couple plays. There's such a fine line between winning and losing, which is why you have no hair and my hair is gray, because we lost in these playoffs more than we won. So it's going to come down to who executes better. It really does, and sometimes it's that one player who can just take
Ain't
it
that
over.
the truth? Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely. Yeah, and that's what you really got to think, going up on the top half of the bracket here with Northeastern and Dallastown. This is a York County matchup here that is as fun as we're going to find here. Who you got in the 4-5 matchup here?
I've got Dallastown winning a tight one. But
Mm,
I think they'll ride their momentum and off the IA championship and take that one as well.
okay. Okay. I agree with you here. I think Dallastown is they're as good a program. Again, another great coach. Coach Rex Roth over there has done such an amazing job since he's taken it over, and they are again another team that's in the conversation every single year. So I got Dallastown, pulling off that win there, and that will pair up the 1-8 matchup that we have there, Lebanon versus Southwestern. That's going to be a tough matchup for Southwestern. I got Lebanon winning that one. I think Lebanon with Correa, who is probably as good a player that's in the league, and then you got Harrison, their post. I mean, and some other role players with around them who were able to really provide. I think Lebanon's going to be, again, I got chalk throughout here. I got 1 through 4. You do not, but that's what I think is going to be the quarterfinal here. I'm sorry, the semifinal. We're gonna have it. So I got 1 through 4. Mike, you got it looks like we got Central York and Central Dolphins. So you tell me who you got winning that game, and then we'll jump to the top half there.
I've got Central Dolphin winning that one. I just think defensively, I think defense wins championships. Same reason I picked Wyomissing in 4A. I think they defend better than anybody, and Central Dolphins defense is pretty solid. So I've got them in the championship game.
There you go. There you go. Man, Central Dauphin is a good program, and again, I think that they're going to get matched up against Wilson. Whew, I don't know. I think this is one that is going to come down to players making plays, and I think it's going to be Wilson that prevails in this one. I think it's a close one, but I got Wilson in the championship, and I have them actually playing in a rematch against Dallastown. I got Dallastown upsetting Lebanon. I think Dallastown again. You got these 1 through 4. Man, seeds mean nothing right now because these teams have kind of been interchangeable. Even Northeastern again was #1 in this bracket for a long period of time throughout the year. But I think Dallastown is as good a program in 6A, and I think they're primed for a big state run as well. So I got Dallastown versus Wilson in my final. Who's representing your top half? Who's your final, and who you got?
Well, I changed. I have Dallastown beating Lebanon. Um,
Mm,
I could go either way on it, but I have Central Dolphin winning it all, though. I have Central Dolphin as the champ.
okay. Okay.
Yeah. Although, like you said, you had Wilson beating Central Dolphin and getting to the championship. And we got a player like Layla Jones and a coach like Chris Gallo. She makes plays. She's a playmaker,
Yeah.
and they guard people, so they could easily get there as well. As for my state bracket, I have Central Dolphin as the 1 seed coming out, Dallastown 2. I've got Lebanon as the 3 seed. Central York as the 4th, Northeastern 5th, Manheim Township 6th, and I have the Wilson Bulldogs getting in as a 7th seed.
There you go. That's your pick. I got Dallastown winning it. I got Dallastown beating Wilson in the championship game. Again, that was a matchup from earlier this year that we saw. It was a 6-point game and a close one. And if I'm not mistaken, that could have even been an overtime game. I might be wrong on that, but bottom line was that was a very close game between Dallastown and Wilson. You talking about an entertaining game. I think there's going to be a lot of defense played in that one, like we saw. Um, first time around. But I think Dallas Town's just got the pedigree. And again, you talk about a matchup Thursday, February 29th at 8 o'clock. That's one that I think a lot of people will be tuning in for. But that'll be the matchup there. I got the top eight. The top seven being the four semifinal teams. And then I do think I think it's going to be 5, 6, 7 all the way through. That's my prediction in terms of the 1 through 7 are going to be the state qualifiers there. So that's it, Mike. That's our predictions. We got them in the book. So we're going to see how our brackets do. We got to compare it to each other, most importantly, but we also want to see what everyone else thinks. I'll tell you right now, I think it's going to be girls basketball. This is a fun District 3, man. I'll tell you. It's take your pick. There's going to be a lot of good basketball to cover here. A lot of games that we're going to be paying attention to. If you had to pick one team that you had to look for right now that you're most looking forward to following, who would it be, would you say, that you think is going to be in all of District 3? If you had to pick one, putting you on the spot here a little bit, who are you picking?
Well, Lancaster Catholic's been dominant, and they have the pedigree, great program. They've been for years dominant. I've got them, I think, going pretty far. I think they can win the state championship, no doubt. Also, keep your eye on Wyomissing. I'm biased, but they just play great defense. And Amaya Stewart she's legit, and she's got a complete game. And she can handle the ball. She can rebound. She can shoot from the outside. She can post up. They're just a poised group. You got 4 D1 athletes in that starting lineup. And the Audrey Hurlman is fantastic. She's going to UNC to play lacrosse. She's probably one of the best defenders I've seen in my 30 years of watching girls high school sports. Probably the best, if I'm being totally honest.
Yeah.
Maybe biased, but honest. Annie McCaffrey's come a long way offensively. She's going to UMass to play soccer. And Alexis Hardy, I think, is going somewhere for Division I track. And obviously Amaya's going to go basketball. So you got 4 D1 athletes. They can play. And you got a coach who's got the culture going there and got it going on. And, he knows a little bit about winning. He was in the Final Four for Division III at Alvernia, and he's done nothing but win since he's got the Wyomissing. So, Aaron Andrews, I think Wyomissing and Lancaster Catholic have a good chance to move on to the States and do a lot of damage. Linville Hill Christian too, in single A. I like to watch them, but overall, I'm still thinking my Our Lady of the Cross there, Patty Howard.
Patty Howard
makes some noise.
There you go. Well, it is 1 through 6. I think we got some great teams there. I'm in agreement with your picks there. I think Lancaster Catholic is going to win the state championship, but as these teams know, and as good coaches know, and as good players know, it takes one game at a time. You cannot be looking ahead. We can look ahead now because we're out of it. We're retired. We're not we got no dogs in the fight at this point.
We're going to go to bed after every game. We can go to sleep.
That's true. That's true. And I gotta spend time with my kids. It's tax season, so I really gotta spend time with my kids. Can't be neglecting them. But it's definitely gotta make sure that this is the best time of the year as far as I'm concerned when it comes to, you got February Madness here, followed by March Madness. You got the NBA playoffs. Celtics, we can both agree, are going to win the finals this year. There ain't no questioning that. But this
time you just kick back with your Popeyes chicken, baby, and say, "Let's go."
It's absolutely. And I'm really curious to see with a lot of these matchups. You got teams. Some half's going to win the East, some half's going to win the West, and we just got to sit back and let's just enjoy it. That's what it is.
Well, we welcome feedback on our podcast, and maybe if people enjoy it, we might add something for each round, maybe, and try to pick games as we go here, if you're enjoying our analysis.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, Mike, I think that's going to do it for this. And I really appreciate you taking the time. Looking forward to following to see how we do here. But it's definitely going to be an interesting February, and we're going to have some of these teams decided. I think every game is going to be decided by the end of February. So maybe we'll catch up again here in a couple of weeks as we go through the brackets, see how we did, and we'll talk through some state brackets then.
All right. Sounds good.
All right. Well, you guys stay classy, and now you know us. Now you know us. We know you, and we know each other. There we go. We'll talk with you guys soon. Take care, Mike. Have a good one.
You too.